What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video talking Worlds 2020, and we're through the best of one group stages and we're into the playoffs, best of 5 from now on. Definitely the best part of Worlds, and sadly we still don't have double elimination, which would make this format even better. I think as it stands, Worlds definitely decides who's the best team in the world, but below that the discussion gets a lot murkier because there can just be scenarios where there are weak sides of a bracket and it's not the second best team in the world who makes it to the final next to the best team in the world, but where the second team in the world maybe gets eliminated in semifinals, maybe in quarterfinals, maybe they run into a unfavorable matchup in quarters or semi, and they get eliminated by number 3 or number 4 in the world. And I don't think any format will at any point give you a perfect ranking, where I don't think that's even the purpose of this World Championship. But as it stands, we only have this competition for the best team in the world once a year. We severely lack international competition in League of Legends, in my opinion. And so I think we should make this one tournament that we have the best that we can. And part of that is not only deciding who's the best in the world, but also who's the second, the third, the fourth best. Make sure people get their due. And right now, I think number 2, as I said, can end up eliminated in 5th to 8th. And maybe the 6th best team gets a favorable bracket draw and even goes to the finals. And I think there's formats out there who would eliminate that. Double elimination, to me, comes to mind first. So maybe let's get that in the future. But for now, let's get right into the action. The first matchup I want to highlight here is Damwon Gaming versus DRX. 2 Korean teams and a matchup that has been dubbed the LCK Civil War, fittingly, I think, in the quarterfinals teas published by Riot. I think it's kind of sad that we see these 2 teams matching up in the quarterfinals. Obviously, we've seen this matchup a lot domestically, but I think this is a dimension that goes lacking in League of Legends a lot, where, for example, in Counter-Strike, you have an open circuit and you see the best teams in the world, Astralis from Denmark, Fnatic from Sweden, then you have some North American teams, you have French teams. You see them matching up at the biggest tournaments, maybe every couple of months, and it just adds another dimension to what is a really hype match, I think. So right now, I'm really hyped for Damwon Gaming versus DRX. I'm also very hyped for Top Esports versus Fnatic, but I've never seen Top Esports play against Fnatic, and probably I'm never gonna see that again. Maybe they make Worlds again next year, but maybe they have had roster changes until then. Maybe they are on opposite sides of the bracket and not in the same group, and then we don't see this matchup ever again, or maybe for a couple of years. And I think that sucks, because sure, there's novelty to Top Esports versus Fnatic, but I prefer already having seen Nuguri versus Doran, Showmaker versus Chovy, Canyon versus I'm blanking on this, Pioshik, obviously. And I think the hype stays the same, and it just adds another dimension to a great match. Going into this matchup, I first want to talk about the matchups we've seen from these 2 teams this summer split. First, let's run down the rosters. On Damwon Gaming side, we have Nuguri in the top lane, Canyon in the jungle, Showmaker in mid, and Ghost and Barrel in the bot lane. On the RX side, we have Doran in the top lane, Pioshik in jungle, Chovy in the mid lane, and Deft and Carrier in bot. When we look at the matchups that these teams have already played against each other, we see that they've obviously matched up twice in the regular season of summer, 2 best of 3s, and then they also played a best of 5 against each other in the playoffs of LCK. So we have a lot of games to go back and look at in preparation for this match. And I think in the latter 2 series, there's a clear storyline emerging for the matchup between these two teams, but in the first series that these two played against each other in summer, this was in early July, we've seen a very different matchup. A matchup where Damwon Gaming lost the series 2-1 to DRX, and in my opinion, a lot of that came down to their own mistakes, to bad decision making around neutral objectives mostly, giving over Barons, giving over Souls. And that's how DRX were able to take that series from Damwon. Over the next two series though, another best of 3 and then the best of 5 in the playoffs, it became pretty clear that Damwon Gaming had evolved from the series, had learned from it, and had unlocked a new level of gameplay. And they took both those series cleanly, first 2-0 and then 3-0 in the playoffs, basically dismantling DRX. And I think we're going to see a lot of the same play out in this quarterfinals matchup, because Damwon Gaming should be an inherent counter to DRX just in the playstyle that both teams have. Let's start in the mid lane, because that's, I think, where both teams are most comparable. Both these players are at the top of their field. They're two of the best mid laners in the game right now, but their strengths are a little bit different. Chovy to me is very lane dominant, he's very mechanically skilled, and he can be a bit brute force. Maybe that's because he knows that he's the main carry for DRX, he feels that weight on his shoulders, and he wants to step up whatever the circumstances. In one of the games these two teams played in summer, for example, he was on the Camille and he went down 0-1, 0-2, and then he ended the game 0-7, 0-8, I don't remember. But it shows you that he will try to make himself useful in the game, try to carry the game no matter what, because maybe that comes from him knowing that he has to. On the other side, you have Showmaker, who's still a very, very good laner. Most of the time comes out of lane with a lead, but to me he's a bit more map and team play forward. And that's what defines Damwon Gaming's playstyle to me right now. I think they have insane macro and insane coordination. They can carry through every role, in my opinion, and they have an internal understanding of that as well, which makes them insanely strong. Because they know that, okay, if we pick Renekton Nidalee and a self-sufficient bot lane, we can carry through the top lane. Canyon will take the Herald, he will dive the other top laner, he will take that turret, and then we can break open the game that way. If Showmaker is on the Twisted Fate, Canyon can play around the mid lane, unlock Showmaker, and that unlocks the entire map. Or, we've also seen now in the playoffs from Damwon Gaming, we can even put Noguri on the Ornn, we can put Canyon on the Volibear, and we can pick Kate Lux in the bot lane and smash that hard, take that turret, rotate that up to the top side, take that turret, and then go into mid lane, take that as well, unlock the entire map, and just choke you out of the game entirely. And that evolution, I think, was what was missing from Damwon Gaming last year. They were still a very strong team, a bit more solo lane centric even than now, with Nuguri and Showmaker being the hard carries, and I think Ghost and Beryl coming into this team, and Canyon getting to a whole new level, I think has unlocked this team and has brought them to a new level. And DRX to me is just that step below, because they don't have the same ability to carry through every lane, and also maybe an internal understanding of that. And so the game just becomes a bit more difficult to play, because they don't have Nuguri in the top lane where they can put him on the Ornn and he will survive and he will be very useful. They can put him on the hard carry Camille and he will smash the other top lane and we win the game that way. They don't have that. They have Doran, who was able to win the lane against Nuguri in multiple instances, but most of the time it was on winning matchups. So for example, you had the cannon into the Volibear, which is a range champion into a melee. The Volibear is still pretty good at dealing with it, but the ranged champion cannon will always have the inherent advantage at that. But if you turn the that lane around and you give Nuguri the advantage in the lane, he's gonna take a mile if you give him an inch. So he's gonna bring Canyon up there, he's gonna dive you, he's gonna take your turret, and he's gonna break open the game. And I think Doran can't do the same. He can pop off, we've seen it from him sometimes, but first of all, I don't think it's gonna happen against Nuguri. And second of all, even if he gets ahead, I think Damwon Gaming are well equipped to deal with it. And then from the jungle, I think that Pioshik is also a weaker version of Canyon, because both are very mechanically skilled, of course. They are some of the best junglers in the world, but Canyon's decision making is what sets him apart from Pioshik to me. Pioshik, for example, I don't want to see him on heavy farming junglers when Doran is on a losing matchup, because then you're just gonna lose that bot lane, that top lane. And I think Canyon is a bit better at knowing where he has to be, not to win the jungle, but to win the game. And I think that's a maturity that Damwon has shown, where they are playing to win the game, not win individually, which is something that I see a bit more from DRX. I think they are a bit more disparate, where their parts are like Chovy tries to win his lane, Doran tries to win his lane, maybe even the bot lane tries to win their lane. And on Damwon Gaming side, you do have lanes that are willing to give up the lane in order to win the game. And I think that mental frame of mind is very, very useful when you're at the highest level and you do have some of the best players in the world and they actually play together very, very well. So on Damwon Gaming side, I just see very skilled individuals that have come together beautifully, and that's what makes them so strong. It's not their individual skill anymore, not just their individual skill anymore. It's their team play and their coordination around the map. And I think that factor is much weaker for DRX. They can hold up an individual skill. I think when Deft steps up and Doran maybe gets a winning matchup, I think they can go head to head in individual skill. But I think their coordination around the map, their macro, is lacking when it comes to the comparison to Damwon Gaming. And that's why I think that Damwon Gaming will take the series 3-0. We've seen multiple series already where Damwon Gaming was able to win it out cleanly, and I do expect the same to happen again this time around. I expect Damwon Gaming to have the better understanding of their win conditions, whether they put them in mid, top or bot, in early game or late game, in split pushing or team fighting. Their understanding of map play and win conditions right now is second to none, I would say. And DRX still have some rough spots that Damwon Gaming can exploit. And wherever their advantage should be around the map, because I think in draft we've already seen that Damwon Gaming is always able to get an advantage somewhere, Damwon Gaming will be smart enough to play towards that. And they also have the parts to hold their own in the other spots that are not played towards. Whereas if you put Doran on a losing top laner and you don't give him attention, that can just cost you the game right there. And I think the same is not true for Damwon Gaming. If you disagree with any of this, be sure to leave a comment below, or even if you want to discuss any of this, also hit me up on Twitter @esportsidaho. If you liked the video, please leave me a like, maybe even subscribe or follow me on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching.